Welcome to the last section of this course, Building a Web Application in Python. In this section, we will look at topics such as creating application users, creating tweets from users. Now let's move on to the video, creating application users. In this video, we will start with creating application users. Then we will be working with observables and AJAX. And finally, we will see binding data for the adduser template. Getting started with applications. Let's get started with creating a basic HTML template. Create a directory named template in your app root location. We will create all our future templates inside this directory. Now let's create the basic skeleton for the adduser.html file as shown. As you can see in this code, we have specified a couple of .js scripts that are needed to make our HTML responsive. This is similar to Twitter Bootstrap, which has a meta name equals viewport attribute to help scale the page based on the browser dimensions. Now creating application users. Before we start writing our web page, we need to create a root to create a user, as seen here. Now that we've created the root, let's create a form in adduser.html, which will ask for the required information related to the user and help them submit the information. Currently, this HTML page shows only empty fields, and if you try to submit it with data, it won't work, since no data binding is done with the backend service as yet. Now we are ready to create JavaScript, which will make a REST call to the backend service and add the user content provided from the HTML page. Next, we will see working with observables and AJAX. In order to get data from the RESTful API, we will use AJAX. Observables keep a track of the changes made on the data and reflect them automatically on all the locations where it is used and defined by ViewModel. By using observables, it becomes very easy to make the UI and ViewModel communication dynamically. Let's create a file named app.js, which has observables declared inside the static directory with this code. If the directory does not exist, create it. I understand it's a lot of code. Let's understand the usage of each part of this code. When you submit your content on the HTML page, a request will be received at app.js, and this code will handle the request. It creates the model and sends the content to this function. This adduser function calls the self.save function with a passing data object. The save function makes an AJAX RESTful call to the backend services and performs the post operation with the data gathered from the HTML pages. It then clears the content of the HTML pages as well. Our work is not yet done. As we mentioned earlier, it is a two-way data binding, so we need to send the data from the HTML side as well, so that it can be processed further in the database. In the script, add this line, which will identify the .js file path. Next, binding data for the adduser template. Data binding is useful to bind your data with the UI. The property from the UI will be processed only for the first time if we do not use observables. In this case, it cannot update automatically based on the underlying data update. To achieve this, bindings must be referred to the observable properties. Now we need to bind our data with the form and its fields in this code. Now we need to make changes in adduser.html to show our user list. For that, let's add this code. Awesome! We're done with adding the web page, which will create new users for our application. It will look something like this. Save this file using the credentials.